number 1 here. We are in the top 16 of the Warships Spring Championship North American bracket. Game 1 of a potential three-game set. This is going to be between BONKS and XP and Zaf. Talk to me about the XPN lineup as they spawn here on the north side of Sea of Fortune.
Well, XPN is coming into this map with 2 American battleships, so they want that flexibility that these American battleships bring to the table. On top of that, they've got, for their cruisers, 2 Henris, a Moskva, and a Nevsky. So 2 12-kilometer radars and plenty of mobility as well. So that's important. And then as far as destroyers, we have got a Gearing and 2 Darings. What do we got for Team Red?
From the south, BONKS zoning in with Montana of their own, marrying it to a Yamato, double Des Moines, and a Yoshino, opting for a 4 destroyer lineup here. Marceau, Shimakaze, Harugumo, and that ever-present Ragnar we seem to keep seeing a lot of in competitive play here.
Yeah, now I want to point out real quick, the Shimakaze Todd Howard is using 20-kilometer torpedoes, so very important to keep in mind. I think we'll see an awful lot of walls of skill laid by that man.
Well, and they've deployed him over here to the western flank. Plenty of good torpedo lanes there. I said eastern flank. Plenty, I do that all the time.
Right.
Plenty of good torpedo lanes through the C-cap and up the 9-10 line. And it's almost a guarantee somebody from XPN will eventually end up on that 9-10 line. We can already see their Henris moving in that direction.
That's right. So, overall, looks like deployment is kind of what you'd expect, although I want to hone in north of B for a moment. Take a look at Vigireb's Moskva in a very interesting position, kiting away as Asherona, the Daring in B, now getting lit up by radar and at least 2 people from BONKS shooting at him.
Indeed. Arch Zero's Des Moines on the bottom end of B, stuck firmly behind an island, has got his radar up, is picking up Akarona, that's taking shells from both Nagato's Harugumo. Took an end from Dyer's Ragnar, well over on the southern end of the A-cap. Really impressive shots by Dyer coming in through this gap, honestly. His ability to land those through the island.
Really impressive shots by Dyer coming through this gap,
I don't think Asherono's
ability to land those
to lose this
through the
much
island.
points this
the
early in
focus
the
fire
game.
has just
He
been
probably figured,
tremendous.
okay,
I don't think
I'll be
Asherono's
lit for a little bit
to
on
lose
radar,
this
I'll be
much
shot at a little bit, but I'll be okay.
Probably
And as you can see,
I'll
he's
be
already
lit
down
for a little bit on
1/3.
radar.
Yeah, down below half there, and a quick fire from Dyer. There's Ragnar.
Yeah,
it's a quick
down
fire
below half there,
well.
He's already used his DCP.
quick fire from
That's not
Dyer.
available for
There's
another 10
Ragnar.
seconds.
It's a quick
His
battle
heal
fire on
has
his
also
way as
been
well.
used, so for the next 40 seconds, that's all the hit points he's going to have.
His heal has also been used. So
3.5 minutes gone, and each team working on a cap there. We saw the Marceau, that was Balbonks.
3.5 minutes gone, and each team working on a cap there. We saw the Marceau that was moving through
at the
A,
moment snuggled
picking
up
that
near
up,
Addie's
running
Des
out
Moines
the
on this
opposite side
flank
over here,
on the 2
where
line.
he is
On the opposite end of the map, over down at the
Addie's Des
C-cap,
Moines on this
we're looking
flank
at
over on the 2 line.
the Daring.
On the
I
opposite
love
end
it
of
when
the
they do
map,
stuff
over
like
down
this
at
to
the
us to make us
C-cap,
say these
we're
names.
looking at
but yeah, they're
they do stuff like this to us to
down
make
over
us
here
say
having
these
picked up the
names.
C-caps of both teams, taking up the cap as Akarona now back into
Down
the
over here,
B-cap
having picked up
very
the C-caps
boldly.
of both teams,
Yeah,
taking up
I'm
the cap as
interested in seeing
Akarona
this double
now back
Henri.
into the B-cap very
Nose
boldly.
down, nose south.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing this,
on the
this
9
double
line. I'm
Henri.
surprised to see both
Nose down, nose south.
Usually, the last
on
thing you
the
want to do in
9
an
line. I'm
Henri is get
surprised to see
stuck
both
bow
of
in.
them.
Yep.
sitting
Ordinarily,
like
when you
that.
see an Henri, they're
Usually, the last thing you
stern
wanna do in an
forward,
Henri
stern
is
in
get
towards
stuck
the
bow in.
opponent,
Yep,
getting ready to
ordinarily
kite
when you see an
because,
Henri,
well,
they're
that's what Henris do really well.
stern forward, stern in
Mings
towards
is
the
trying
opponent,
to do that
getting
right
ready
now.
to
He's trying
kite
to get to a
because,
kite
well,
position.
that's what Henris
Unfortunately,
do
he's
really
got
well.
an island to his side.
Yeah, Mings is trying to
So
do that
I'm
right now. He's
looking
trying to get
at
to a tight position.
the
Unfortunately,
Montana,
he's got an
another fun
island
name
to
to
his
say on
side.
stream, and
So I'm looking
it looks
at
like he's not ready for that shot.
Montana, another fun name to say on stream, and it looks like he's not
Hopar's
ready for
lead
that shot.
Henri there, moving down the 9 line, had his Hydro up, dodged all of those long-range torpedoes
Hopar's
from both
lead Henri
the
there,
Yoshino,
moving down the
that's
9 line, had his
Fratstar,
Hydro up,
and
dodged all of
Todd
those
Howard's
long-range torpedoes
Shimakaze.
from both
And I think it's worth
the
pointing out
Yoshino,
that
that's Fratstar,
BONKS
and
is coming with a
Todd
really
Howard's
solid strategy
Shimakaze.
for kind
And
of
I think it's
trying to
worth
slow
pointing
down
out
this
that
flank with the 20-kilometer
BONKS is coming with a
Shimakaze
really
married to the
solid
Yoshino.
strategy for kind of
Yoshino
trying
also
to slow
coming
down this
stock with
flank
those
with
20-kilometer
the
torpedoes.
20-kilometer
Well,
Shimakaze
we
married to the
always say
Yoshino.
when you do
Yoshino
competitive,
also
you have to
coming
pick a
stock
side
with
to
those
push.
20-kilometer
Rarely do
torpedoes.
teams
Well,
that
you know, we
evenly
always say
deploy
when you do
across the map,
competitive, you have to
know,
pick a side to
rarely
push.
are they
Rarely
successful.
do
Yeah.
teams
So
that
to
evenly
see,
deploy across the map.
to see this,
you know,
this
rarely are
deployment
they
makes perfect
successful.
sense
Yeah.
on that side
So
of bonks.
to
They're pushing
see,
strong over at A.
to
They're
see
developing
this,
that push. Look, the
deployment makes
Marceau
perfect sense
is
on that side
even
of bonks.
getting
They're pushing strong
into
over
Yeah.
A.
cap now.
They're
Yeah,
developing that push.
Akarota
Look,
did pick
Marceau
up B, had to
is
duck out to the
even
north, has
getting
healed back some of his
into
HP, but now
cap
Balbonks
Yeah.
is Marceau
Akarota
working
did pick
the
up B,
western
had to
side
duck
of
out
that
to the
cap.
north, has healed back some of his
Sea of
HP, but
Fortune
now
plays
Balbonks is
very
Marceau
quickly
working
because
the
of the
western side
proximity
of that
of these
cap.
caps together. They're
Sea of Fortune
maybe a couple or
plays
3
very
kilometers
quickly
apart, right
because
through
of
the
the
middle of the map,
proximity
and
of
so
these caps
moving
together.
from
They're
one to the other
maybe a couple
is
or
very,
3
very
kilometers
simple,
apart,
and it
right through
means
the
that
middle
there's
of
a
the
lot
map,
of
and so
tens
moving
can
from one
play
to the
where there's a lot of board
is
control
very,
changes,
very
and we're seeing
simple,
some of
and
that
it
here
means
early.
that there's a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of
interesting. So,
tens
you know,
can play
that
where there's a
Moss
lot
I
of
mentioned,
board
the
control
turning wing
changes, and
position,
we're
is
seeing
now
some of
turning
that
around
here
going
early.
bow
Yeah, it's
in.
interesting. So,
But I don't
you
think
know,
he's
that
within
Moss
radar
turning
range
wing
just
position
yet.
is now turning
Oh,
around
he
going
could actually
bow
pick
in.
up Bussy if he
But I
wanted
don't
to
think
with that
he's
12-kilometer
within
radar.
range
Electing
just
not to,
yet.
though.
Oh, he could actually pick
Interesting.
up Bussy if he wanted to. with
Over
that
at the C
12-kilometer
cap,
radar.
kind of the
Electing
top
not
end
to,
there,
though.
we're having a look at
Interesting.
the
Over
XPN
at the C
Ohio
cap,
that's
kind of the top
balling,
end there,
kind
we're
of getting
having a
farmed
look
out
at
here. Shells
the-
coming in
the
from Arch
XPN
Zero's Des
Ohio
Moines
that's
and
balling,
Battleship Nagatos
kinda getting
Harugumo.
farmed out here.
And I think
Shells
even
coming
the
in from
Montana
Arch
down
Zero's
there
Des
was
Moines
lobbing
and
some HE
Battleship
yet a minute
Nagatos
ago.
Harugumo.
He's down
I think
about coming up
even
on
the
half HP.
Montana
He's
down
having
there
to
was
back off the
lobbing
top
some
of that
HE
cap.
a minute ago.
Bonks does
Down
flip the B
about
cap
coming
though.
up on
Balbonks
HP,
Marceau
he's having to
works
back
in,
off the
gets
top
that
of
done,
cap.
and has now kind of
Bonks
reversed
does
back.
flip
He's
the B cap,
safely
though.
ensconced in this
Balbonks
gap over
Marceau
here
works in,
in between
gets
B and
that
C.
done, and has now
Right.
kind of reversed back. He's safely
And that's
ensconced in
actually
this
a
gap
very,
over here.
I mean, so
between B and
now,
C.
if you
Right.
think about it, if you're XPN, how do you get back
And
into
that's
this
actually a
game?
very. I mean, so now.
The
if
destroyer
you
health
think about it, you're
disparity,
XP,
I think, is
how do
going to
you
work
get back
against him
into
a little
this
bit,
game?
right?
Yeah.
And we talked about it
The
briefly a minute
destroyer
ago.
health
Sea
dis-
of Fortune is a map that very commonly you see a lot of like board control matters on this map
Is
a
map
whole lot.
that
By which I mean
very
cap
commonly
control. I
you
should
see
have
a
been more
lot of,
specific.
like, board control
And
matters on this map.
it can be very
a whole
tenuous
lot, by
because of
which I
how
mean
quickly
cap
you
control.
can
I
get
should have been more
from
specific.
one cap to the
And
other. By
it can
bringing
be
4
very tenuous
destroyers,
because of how
Bonks has kind of put themselves in a position to basically say, look, we are going to pick up the cap control, we are going to hold it, and force you to come play our game if you want to lead. And we're just coming up on about 8 minutes into the game, not too long ago, Bonks did move out to their first lead of the game.
Now look at the Ohio. Ballin' Cupcakes is 20 seconds away from being able to heal. He's
Now
currently
look at
being
the
farmed.
Ohio
His
ball
DCP is
Yeah.
active.
20 seconds
So
away
I think
from
he'll
being
be
able
okay.
to heal.
But long
He's
term,
currently being
he
farmed.
doesn't have that much
His
time left in
DCP
the
is
game. I
active.
think.
No, they've done a brilliant job
So
of
I
just
think he'll be
soaking up as much
okay,
HE, of as much of his
but
health as they
long
can
term,
with all the
much,
HE shells
much
coming
time
in. And
left
yep,
in the
there's
game.
Merc
They've
as
done a brilliant
HE
just
shells.
soaking
Landing,
much
he's down to
HE of
3K
as
right
they
as his
can
heal
with
comes
all the
up.
HE
That's
shells
right. The
coming in.
Montana
Yep,
is now
there's
a
Merc's
flame
HE
10,
shells
ladies and gentlemen.
landing. He's down to
You
3K
almost have to
right
wonder
as his
if
heal
they
comes up.
spect it
That's
for
right,
that.
the
Because if you
Montana
look
is
at
now
the
a
map,
flame
right,
10, ladies and
you've
gentlemen.
got the
You
Yoshino, the
almost have to wonder if
Shimakaze,
they
and the
spect it
Montana
for
all
that,
in the
because
same
if you look at
flame.
the map, right,
And HE
you've got
spamming
the
a Flame
Yoshino,
Tana
the
build like you were
Shimakaze,
talking
and the
about
Montana
would
all
make
in the
sense
same
in that kind of a
flame.
matchup. Or
Absolutely.
HE spamming
Absolutely.
a Flame Tana build like you were talking about.
Oh,
would
big
make
hit
sense
there.
in that
Big
kind of
HE
a
hits.
matchup.
He's going to get this
Absolutely.
healed off.
Absolutely.
It's almost winding down, but
Oh,
in the end, the net gain is only going to be about 6,000 or 7,000 HP.
It's
And
almost
he's still
winding down,
40
but
seconds away from
it's-
his
in
next
the
heal.
end, the
If I'm
net
that
gain is only
Ohio
gonna be
man,
about 6,000 or 7,000
I'm just
HP,
diving the
and he's
island.
still
I'm saying that
40
how was
seconds
trying
away
to get
from
any
his next
shots
heal.
in. He just
I'm
fired
that
back
Ohio
at
Yeah.
the
man.
Montana.
I'm
Screw
just
that.
diving
Get to
the
the
island.
island
I'm
as
saying that
quickly
how
as
are you gonna get
possible.
any
Yeah, I
shots
think
in?
the
You
only
just
way they're
fire
going to
back
preserve
at
this ship is
Montana.
if they get him up
Screw
close
that,
to this
get to
island,
the
get him into
island
hard
as
cover.
quickly
He
as
still has
possible.
2
Yeah, I
heals
think the
left.
only way they're going to
He could
preserve the
recover his
ship is if
HP
they
back
get
up to
him
30 or
close to this
40K.
island, get him
On
into
fire
hard
now.
cover.
He takes
He
a
still has
fire. He's
2
about
heals
10
left.
seconds away from his
He could
next
recover his HP
repair.
back up to
They're going
30
to
or
barely
40K
sneak him
on
through
fire
maybe,
now.
or is he
He
going
takes
to go
a fire,
down?
he's
I think
about
he's
10
okay as long
seconds
as
away
the other
from his
shells
next
don't hit
repair.
2-1.
Barely sneaking.
Oh, he managed
Just saved it.
420 hit points on Ballins, Ohio. He's still lit
Oh, he manages
as his
saved
next
it.
teal does finally come
420 hit
available.
points on Ballins, Ohio. He's still
Wow.
lit.
Yeah, well, that's the
As his
strength
next
of that
heel does
Ohio,
finally
right?
come
Get that
available.
quick reload on the heel.
Tons of pressure on this opposing
well,
battleship.
that's
Look
from
at Todd
Bonks.
Howard's
Right.
Shimakaze.
Yeah, they've caught him out here. I'm not quite sure
Tons
how.
of pressure on this
The
opposing
Daring moved up to
battleship.
pressure him, and I'm
Howard's-
guessing that Mosfer
Yeah,
radar in the
they've caught
middle,
him
that's
out here. I'm not
Vigirevs,
quite
must
sure
have
how.
picked him up long enough
The
for them to
Daring
get a
moved
lot
up
of good
to
shells
pressure
into
him, and
him.
I'm guessing
Yep,
that
he's on
Mosfer radar
fire,
in the middle,
engines
that's
out.
Vigirevs must have picked him up
DCP
long
is
enough
down for another
them to
10
get a lot of good
seconds.
shells in.
Yep, he's
Forced
on.
to
Oh,
make
they're going to
it
get him,
deep.
Zath, right here.
Oh, almost.
10 seconds.
He's so
Nope.
close.
Well, they're gonna
470
get him,
HP.
Zath,
They just got to
right
fish
here.
for him in
Fishing.
that smoke.
French radar.
So
No.
close, 470
XPN's
HP.
Daring
get him.
still going
That
for it.
smoke.
They haven't.
French
Nope.
radar, get him.
Nope. I can't believe it. He's managed to sneak away on
XPN's Daring still
477
going
hit
for it.
points.
They haven't, nope.
Wow.
Goodness
Nope. I
gracious.
can't believe it. He's managed to
Yeah,
sneak away
so
on
that Daring
477
being
hit
forced
points.
back on the
Goodness
help
gracious.
of that Harugumo.
Yeah, so that
to-
Daring being
Just he
forced
can't
back on the
press like he
No,
wanted to.
no, he
that
can't.
Harugumo.
Halfway mark of the game here.
Just
We're a
you
little
can't- you
past
can't
it now.
press.
Bonks out to about
No,
130
you
point
can't.
lead.
Halfway
Still
mark
building.
Of the game
They still
here.
have all
A
the
little
cap
past
control
it
in the
now.
world.
Bonks
We
out to
haven't
about 130
seen
point lead.
a concerted
Still
effort
building. They
from
still have all
XPN
the
to try to
cap
break
control in
into
the
one of
world.
these
We
caps. I don't
haven't
think they could get into the A cap if they
a
wanted to.
concerted
They
effort
might have a play at B,
from
but it's going to
XPN
be
to try to
tight.
break into
Yeah.
one of these caps. I don't think they could get into the
They
A cap.
really
if
need to
they
pick up the
wanted
kill.
to.
I
They
think the
might
only
have
way
a play at
that
B, but it's
XPN
gonna
is going
be
to
tight.
really make an impact here is they're going to have to bag a kill
They
somewhere.
really need to pick up a kill.
They
I think
almost
the
had
only
that
way
with
that
Shimakaze.
XPN
Oh, that
is
would have been
gonna
huge
really
if they'd picked
make
up
an
those
impact
points.
here is they're going to have to bag a kill somewhere.
They almost had that on the
But
Shimakaze.
it's
that
interesting.
would've
You
been huge
mentioned
if they
these
picked
maps
up
go
those points.
fast,
Yeah.
but I mean, we haven't had a kill
Well,
yet, and we're
it's
just
interesting. You
past the
mentioned
halfway
these
mark.
maps
We're
go
11
fast.
minutes in the
Yeah.
battle.
Well, you say that now,
I
but
mean,
Yimmy's
you haven't had a kill
on
yet.
Ri over here on the
Just
3
past
line
the
north of the
halfway
A cap
mark.
getting
Yeah.
very low. 3
Well,
or
you say
4
that
different
now,
ships
but Yimmy's
focusing
on
him
Ri
out
over here on
now.
the 3 line
He's
north of
trying
the A
to
cap getting
speed
very
boost
low.
and press
3
up to where he's
or
got
4
island
different
cover, but
ships
he's not going to get it.
focusing him out
It's
now.
not. He's
He's
healing,
trying
but
to
sooner or
speed
later they're
boost
going to
and
land enough
press up
shells,
to
and
where
there he
he's got island
goes.
cover, but he's not going to get it.
Yeah,
No,
Des
No,
Moines AP
he's
just
healing,
said,
but
nope.
sooner or later they're going to land enough shells,
done.
and there he goes.
First kill of the game
Des
goes
Moines
to
AP
Bonks
just
to
said,
pad
nope.
their lead over 250
You're done.
points now. 8 minutes to play.
First kill of the game goes to Bonks to pad their lead over 250
Captain Clanky's
points.
Montana's
now, 8
going to take
minutes
at least
play.
one of these torpedoes amidships. These must be, these are Marceau torpedoes, so that actually
Montana's
hurts
gonna
pretty
take at least
decently.
one of these
right.
torpedoes amidships. These must be
Props
these are
repair.
Marceau
He's the new
torpedoes,
farm
so that
target
actually
now
hurts pretty
For
decently.
Dyer's
Right.
Ragnar, Addie's Des Moines,
He props repair.
Balbonks
He's the
is
new
Marceau
farm target
quiet
now.
for the moment.
For Dyer's
Nope,
Ragnar.
now he's pitching in.
Yeah.
As soon as I said something,
Yeah, as
he
soon as
opened
he said
fire.
something.
It was like I dared him.
Well,
now he's
so
pitching
he
in.
saw the
As soon as I
DCP.
said
So as soon
something,
as he saw
That's
the
right.
DCP,
That's right.
he's going to go for it.
The torpedo on the Montana basically meant that he had to
As soon as he saw the DCP,
That's right.
run the
gonna
damage
go for
control.
it.
The torpedo
Right, that
on
makes
the
it
Montana
worthwhile for
basically meant
Balbonks
that
to
he
start
had
throwing
to-
his guns
he
in.
had
So
to-
20 seconds of immunity.
run
After
the
that,
damage
start the
control.
fires
Right,
again.
that
As
makes
you
it
can see,
worthwhile for
we have
Balbonks
sticky
to
fire
start
going
throwing
on the
his guns in.
Montana
So
already.
20 seconds of
Now, all these
immunity after
HE
that,
shells are
start
coming
the
in the
fires
same
again.
spot.
As
I'm
you can
surprised
see,
that they're not
we have
trying to
sticky
walk
fire
over
going on
the hull
Montana
more.
already.
There, now
All
they're
these
starting to
HE
do
shells
that.
are
It's like
coming
they're
in the same
listening to
spot.
us.
Yeah.
So they're not trying to walk
But
over
yeah,
the
I mean,
hull more.
Okay,
There, now they're
congratulations. You
starting
got
to
the
do
fire
that.
in the
It's like
midsection.
they're
Yeah.
Move on to the front
Yeah.
or the
Well,
stern.
and it
like
takes
bow
time.
stern.
It takes time to adjust your
Okay,
fire, but the problem
congratulations,
Clanky's
you
got
got the
now
fire
is he's
in
stuck
midsection.
bow
Yeah,
in.
onto the front,
It's
Well,
only a
it
matter of
takes
time
time- it
before
takes
he
time
goes
to
down
adjust
here,
your
probably
fire, but the
seconds
problem
away.
he's got now
He's
is
trying
he's
to
stuck
take
bow
Arch
in.
Zero's Des
It's
Moines
only
with
a matter
him.
of time before
He doesn't
goes down.
succeed
You're
with that
probably
salvo, and
seconds
he's going to
away.
go out right here.
He's
That's
trying to
gonna be
take Arch Zero's
That's seconds
Des
away
Moines
from
with
a
him.
win. A
He
two-ship
doesn't
lead.
succeed with that
5
salvo,
seconds on
he's
the
gonna go out
timer.
right here.
Bonks is going to win game 1
That's
here
seconds away from a
and
win.
take a 1-0
Two-ship
lead in the best of 3 series. He's
Seconds
going to have
on
to
the
go back
timer.
into
Bonks is gonna
the
win game
back
1
into the
here
studio and have a
take
look
a
and
1-0
see
lead in the best
what
of 3
XPN
series.
does
He's gonna
in
have to go back
between
into
games
the,
to
back in
kind of
the studio
adjust
and
as
have a
we
look
kind of
and
get ready
see
now to
what
look at
XPN does
Tears
in between
of the
games.
Desert.
That's right.
To kind of adjust as
So
we kind of get
let's
ready now
let's throw
to
it back to
look
the
at
studio.
Ladies and gentlemen.
We saw last game, Montana Yamato again for the battleships. Des Moines, a triple Des Moines, goodness gracious, and a Salem. So I guess technically 4 Des Moines there, Zaf. That is a whole lot of America on that team, fronted by 2 Shimakazes and a Harugumo.
Yeah, so, you know, that kind of comp makes me think that they're going to hold places and force XPN to push wherever they want to defend, essentially, right?
Yeah, with that much radar.
Now, XPN is bringing an Ohio and a Conqueror.
Interesting.
Interesting. Salem, Venezia, Moskva, and Nevsky for cruisers, followed up by a Gearing, Daring, and a Ragnar. By the way, we should also mention both Shimakazes on the BONKS team, 20-kilometer torpedoes. So, you know, seeing the Conqueror, seeing Nevsky, in a sense seeing Moskva, makes me think that XPN is choosing to go for more of a farm strat, more of an anti-static, kind of a sieging strategy here. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. The lineup's definitely, you know, you can tell that each team's coming in with a different take on the map, and you're also seeing that out of the early deployment as Bonks is completely looking at the BCAP and saying, nah, not interested. They're sending Yamato, Des Moines, and Shimakaze up to kind of loosely fight over A. The remaining 6 ships all moving directly down the 8 line towards the C cap.
Yep.
And I think what we're seeing here is a little bit of acknowledgement of the fact that you know, moving from B to C is generally pretty challenging, but defending the C cap, if you hold that line of islands, is actually, I won't say it's child's play, but it's much, much easier.
Absolutely, and it's almost similar to the playbook from last game too.
Yeah.
BONKS putting most of their assets on one side of the map, making sure that they win it. Now this time the Daring is going to be able to grab B cap pretty much unabated. There's no radars or anything because these are American radars that only reach, what, 10 kilometers?
10 kilometers, right. And the Daring is just outside of Arch Zero's Des Moines. He's the only Des Moines that might have had a shot, but there's over a kilometer there, so he can't pick up the Daring there.
I don't think they're even bothering to try. Like, nobody even looked in that direction.
They don't seem interested, honestly.
Right?
Now, looking at XPN, BONKS has gone for a 6-3 split, right?
Yep.
Six ships going to C, 3 going to A.
Yep.
Of course, XPN's gone for a much more traditional, basically a
4-4-1
4-4-1 split. 4 ships south, 4 ships north, Daring to the mid, and then it's gonna depend a little bit. I think they'll be able to call that Daring to whichever side of the cap they want. Arch Zero taking a good salvo there from Vigi Rebs' Moskva.
Yeah, that was a very nice shot, and he's actually gonna beach here. But it looks like Arch Zero is no longer detected, which is unfortunate. Might have seen some battleship. You can see it looks like the Ohio is playing up, ready to go for that shot, and it's not going to come.
He just took a solid hit, I'm guessing, from the Montana as well. He's returning fire right now.
Yep.
Ball and shells going down range looking for Murica's Montana. I love just that. Saying that together just makes me giggle. He doesn't get nearly as good a hit on the Montana as the Montana got on him.
It looked better than it was.
Indeed. Now, if you have a look up at A, the forces at A are a little more even. I mean, if you know, you're looking at basically a 4-3 fight up here.
Right.
And so Glacial's gearing, kind of working the edge of the cap there, pushing Dyer's Shimakaze off briefly. But you wonder how long that's going to hold. Yumi's Conqueror is going to take at least one of these Shimakaze torps right on the belt.
I'm curious about Glacial smoke there. That might have been a knee-jerk, I got spotted, I have to smoke reaction.
Maybe, but behind him, moving up the one line, is Butters' Venezia.
Right.
It's possible that it is an intentional play to maybe allow the Venezia to sneak closer to the cap without the Yamato having a good line of sight on him.
That's true. The Venezia is not shooting right now.
Nope. Playing well back as some of these gearing torps are going in on Dyer now.
Oh, boy.
Whoa, very close. He's going to have to thread the needle here. He's got 2 more coming in, but he's got it.
He's good. Close dodging there.
Really well predicted torpedoes from Glacial. Just kind of dumped those out, and they almost had a huge impact.
Absolutely. So A is, well, no longer contested. It was for just a moment. Glacial got detected.
Yep, Addie's Des Moines got his radar up on the top end of the cap.
Right. So Glacial's going to be forced to kind of back off a bit.
Oof. Now, early on here, 5 minutes gone, it's a bit of a mess for XPN simply because they've kind of gone for this even split, and they've allowed the BONKS sort of weak flank, for lack of a better way to put it, to pick up the A cap and get points off of it. Mm-hmm. And they don't know this, of course. We have better knowledge of the opposing ship positions than they do, but at the same time, you almost have to think, man, they know they've got to have a sense by now that there's not a lot up here. And yet it's like they're setting up the kite off of both caps, Zach.
Yes. Well, it kind of makes... I mean, it almost looks like both teams are kind of set up the kite. I mean,
at A, it makes way more sense for BONKS to hold that kind of a board position. Well, it doesn't make that much sense to me at C. And I'll tell you straight up, if I was XPN, I feel like the Daring is being wasted in B right now. I think I'd almost be bringing him more north with the gearing to tag team the Shimakaze that you know is there now.
Well, so that's the thing, right? You got the B cap, now what? And I think that's the hard part. You're absolutely right. I would have probably liked to have seen the Daring go to the backfield and just terrorize the heck out of either the Yamato or Montana, or both.
Yeah.
He's got the ability to do that, and that would have forced BONKS to then deploy assets to deal with that Daring.
Right.
Instead, he's just sitting there looking for opportunities to farm.
So
I don't know.
I think now, having watched their fire coming in, I think I understand a little more about the XPN play here. If you look at Arch Zero's Des Moines, he's quite low.
Oh yeah,
they had good eyes on him. They wanted to keep focusing him out, And I think the intent with keeping the daring there in mid was to give them more opportunities to do that. They tried the conga line torps, that didn't work. BONKS brought back the Shimakaze and smoked Arch Zero out of that position, and it looks like he's going to sneak away on about 10,000 HP.
That's right. So, unfortunately, the result of that is essentially not a whole lot gained for XPN, despite losing a good amount of health. Here's a Salem on the border, just gets whacked, dumpstered from the Montana from downtown.
Goodness gracious, trying to play border games over here, and the BONKS Montana says, no thank you, let's just get rid of you.
Yep. Super heal or not, that's going to hurt.
That first kill comes much quicker in Game 2 than it did in Game 1, only 7.5 minutes in.
XPN might lose another. Nope, they Glacial just barely threaded those torpedoes.
Yeah, but he's under the eye right now. Addy's radar up on the 2 line got him lit.
That's right.
Lots of shells coming in, Yamato shells, Shimakaze shells. Everybody's looking for a piece of this gearing, and he's getting very low here.
2,000 health. 1,000.
He is finally dark again, no longer detected.
All right, well, now his adrenaline rush is pretty much activated.
Pretty much. He has gone for max adrenaline rush there as Butters' Venezia tries to try and help defend his teammate, but hasn't been helping all that much.
Well, if you look at Vigirebs' Moskva is also moving up, and the Daring has finally gotten out of B. Now it looks like he's looking for that Yamato.
Yeah, I feel like this is not... I like this play from XPN.
Yes.
I feel like it's come a few minutes late.
Well... it's better late than never.
Agreed. Better late than never. They're not out of the game. They can still force a win here. They just got. It's gonna be much harder than it was 5 minutes ago.
Sure. And I mean, as soon as you lose a ship, you immediately have to say, okay, well, what flank was that? We have to try something on the other side, and that's exactly what we're seeing happening here.
Yep. So what began as a fight kind of northeast to southwest is gonna quickly swap axes. As all of the BONKS ships down at sea are going to reorient and kind of try and mostly move towards the middle of the board, as the XPN ships that were in the middle of the board are collapsing north, trying to force the ACAP and try and at least stay in the game to maybe force a lead change.
Right. Meanwhile, all the way on the southern flank, you can see that BONKS is now victoriously marching through CCAP and trying to take up positions. I do like the Salem and Des Moines. Both of them, instead of pushing south, they are going towards the middle. They know that this game will be won in the middle, not the south. So they're not going to waste time chasing after the Ohio and the Nevsky. They're going to take more decisive positions. I like this.
Indeed. Vigirebs' Moskva moving up aggressively, but it's cost him big time now as he's kind of hanging out on the south side of the ACAP, getting farmed by both Des Moines. He's literally sitting directly in between Addy and Arch Zero, who are both farming him without really being counterspotted. In fact, Vigirebs has finally gone dark.
The Montana Murica is also shooting in here, getting his shells heard, or felt.
Vigi manages to go dark. He's on about 12,000 health in there. A notable health kind of discrepancy here as XP and Upside down about 40,000, but we're probably only, I don't know what you think, Zad, about 60 seconds away from the remaining BONKS forces at sea going to start exerting influence over the middle of the map, and this is only going to get harder from XPN.
Well, absolutely. I mean, Haragumo is online, looks like. Yeah, I mean, hidden stats goes down the Yamato.
XPN bags a kill. That big points they needed. That narrows the gap to about 50 points and closing. They do hold more caps, but they're going to lose this Moskva here in seconds. He's lit again. Lots of different ships farming him. He's on fire, and there he goes.
So he tried to get in there, tried to surprise Shimakaze, get him out there. He accomplished that. Unfortunately, BONKS was able to pivot and take him out.
They did force the Shimakaze off the cap and managed to get some points off of it.
Yep.
And I think now we're seeing, they just decided they're going to go full court press on these guys at the top end of the cap, and then they're going to fight whatever's left behind them. They're going to surrender the B cap, I think. I don't think they can stop it. They don't have a radar in position to do anything about it.
No, I don't think so either.
So XPN's play now is going to be to exterminate Addy and Dyer way up here on the top end of the map. They're bringing Butters' Venezia in very aggressively, as well as the Daring that hung out in the middle of the board.
Right.
Daring's now radar. They know where both ships are.
That's right. So they can prepare for it.
Yep.
The question is, does Dyer have torpedoes ready? He does. Venezia does not have hydroacoustic surge consumable.
Nope. Venezia cannot see these coming. No way to spot them.
Now that he sees the smoke, though, he knows the Shimakaze is there, and he's going to be prepping for torpedoes. The question is, will he be able to dodge those coming in? Nice shot through the smoke.
Takes a blind shot, gets a little bit of chip damage. XPN needs to assassinate these guys very quickly so they can try and reorient to receive this push in the middle of the board.
Look at the Ohio south of B. He's going down right about now.
Oh,
that's huge.
That is significant.
And Glacial turning in front of a torpedo wall. He'll be okay. Boy, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
You feel like they were
BONKS
starting
losing
to get
one of their
something going.
battleships as the daring torpedoes come in on Addy. They're going to get him.
Yep.
There he goes.
There he goes.
Big kill for XPN. They're not out yet. 7.5 minutes to play here in game 2.
In just moments, we see lots of ships going down as both teams realize it's time.
Well, and
right?
Yimi's Conqueror is now the focus target of a Des Moines, a Harugamo. The Montana shells are coming in. They're trying to drive him into the B cap. The Montana slaps him hard. There goes his fancy heel.
He's done. No more heels left. That's it.
Heels out. That's it.
Looks like we're gonna go 2-0 here.
Looks like it's 60 seconds on the timer. I just don't see a way for XPN to get back into the B cap. They lose Glacial finally, who clung to 1,700 hit points for most of the game.
That's right. And Butters, if only his smoke wasn't obscuring his own vision of Dire Shimakaze, he might actually have him right here. If only maybe he had a plane too. He could have put the plane up. He's gonna see him right here. There's the shells. There's the kill.
Time extension.
Time extension.
With mere seconds on the clock, Butters with a big kill. He's going to take a torpedo, but it's not going to be enough to put him down.
But then Asherona and the Ragnar between A and B going down.
Oh, he's caught out by everybody. Look at this.
That'll do it.
Going out. And once again, you're seconds away, and there it is.
Wow.
It's a 2-0 sweep for BONKS, but man, XPN played a much tougher game, I think, that time than they did in game 1.
Oh, absolutely.
What was your? I really liked the flex play that they took those guys in mid, the Moskva, the daring, and they said, okay, that's it. This is not working. Let's go to A. Let's end things at A.
Yeah.
And then get on top of it.
So in my opinion, there's two things to keep in mind with the flex play, right? One is it's a flex play for a reason, right? It allows you to relocate assets as you need to. But the problem with that is you lose the initiative. You are dependent on the enemy team to essentially show their hand, and then you have to try to find a way to get back and to react accordingly. You lose precious time in doing that, and you have to be able to react quickly with one of these things. And I think that was the biggest problem with XPN. They weren't able to react fast enough once they realized BONKS' hand.
Yeah. I agree, and I got to really tip my hat to Addy and Dyer there at the top end of the map, knowing that, this is it. We're going to die, but our job at this point is to prolong it as long as possible.
That's right.
Every point of damage that we can inflict is just that much more benefit to our team. They held out a long time. It works out. BONKS gets the win. A 2-0 victory, and now we got to go look for another game. So let's throw it back to our commentating desk in the studio, and we'll see you guys again in a few minutes.